The day Snowy went missing, a heartbreaking story about love, fear, and finding hope again. Morning sunlight spilled gently across the kitchen floor. Amma stirred her tea, humming softly to herself. The house smelled of cardamom and warmth. Snowy, her beloved white cat, usually twined around her ankles at this time, meowing for milk before she even sat down. But this morning, he didn't come. Amma smiled faintly. "Still sleeping, lazy boy?" she murmured. She poured his saucer of milk anyway and set it on the floor near the window. Minutes passed. The milk cooled. Still, no snow. At first, she thought little of it. He often wandered out to the courtyard or napped under the guava tree. But when she called his name from the doorway, her voice echoed through the still air. No soft meow, no flutter of white fur, nothing. Her heart gave a small, uncertain twist. She stepped outside, shielding her eyes from the sunlight. "Snowy!" she called again. The garden was quiet, save for the rustle of leaves and the distant cry of a crow. She looked under the bench, behind the potted plants. Even in the neighbor's yard. Her hands began to tremble. Hours passed. Amma searched the narrow lanes around her house, barefoot, clutching her shawl close. She asked every passerby, every shopkeeper, every child playing on the street, "Have you seen a white cat? Small, with a pink collar?" Most shook their heads. A few shrugged politely. Someone said they saw a stray near the old temple, but they weren't sure. By afternoon, Amma's knees ached, her throat was dry, and her eyes burned with tears she hadn't realized she was holding back. She sat down on the roadside, heart pounding, whispering, "He's all I have. Please, God, don't take him too." That evening, the world blurred through her tears. The house that once felt warm now felt hollow. Too still, too silent. She couldn't bring herself to eat. The saucer of milk still sat untouched by the window, now a mirror of her loneliness. She took Snowy's blanket from his basket and held it to her chest, inhaling faint traces of his fur. The smell was faint but familiar. Comfort and heartbreak tangled together. For the first time in years, she prayed out loud. "Bring him back to me. I don't need anything else." Her voice broke, thin and raw. That night, she couldn't sleep. Every sound, like the creak, a rustle, a shadow, made her heart jump. She left the door unlocked, the lamp burning softly, and waited. At some point, exhaustion took her. She drifted into uneasy sleep in her chair, tears dried on her cheeks. And then, in the quiet hours before dawn, a sound broke through the stillness. Scratch, scratch. Amma's eyes flew open. For a moment, she thought she was dreaming. Then came another sound, a faint, desperate meow. "Snowy?" She stumbled to the door, her knees weak but her spirit burning. When she opened it, there he was. Wet, shivering, covered in mud, a small cut above his paw. But alive. He looked up at her with wide, glassy eyes, meowed softly and limped inside. Amma's breath caught. She fell to her knees, scooped him up, and whispered through sobs, "My boy, where did you go? I thought I lost you." Snowy pressed his head into her shoulder, purring weakly. That sound, that gentle vibration, felt like forgiveness and love and home all at once. She cleaned his paw, wrapped him in a towel, and placed him near the stove for warmth. Her trembling fingers stroked his fur again and again, as if to convince herself he was real. Snowy purred louder, blinking slowly, his eyes heavy with trust. Amma smiled through her tears. "You silly thing," she whispered. "Don't ever scare me like that again." The house felt alive again. The lamp seemed brighter, the air warmer, the silence softer. She poured fresh milk into his bowl and sat beside him as he drank. Every sip felt like a heartbeat returning. The next morning, as sunlight filled the room once more, Amma placed a small note near Snowy's basket. It read, "For my little one. You came back to me when I thought I'd lost everything. You reminded me that love always finds its way home." She folded the note, smiled, and slipped it under his blanket. Snowy stretched, yawned, and pressed against her feet. And Amma, for the first time in days, laughed,
softly, gratefully, like someone who'd been given back a piece of her soul. Because sometimes love runs away, just to remind us how deeply we need it when it returns.